3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It's Monday. It's Monday. It really is. 7 o'clock. And that can mean only one thing. It's time for Reading the Signs, where me, Comedy John Ryan, and my comedian pals from all over the world are going to be talking about comedy, well-being, why we do it, how we cope. And that's where we need your help. We need you to send us your top tips for well-being. Be part of the show. Drop a comment in the box on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the mensradiostation.com website. It's going to be a great show, much better than last week. What we're trying to do is think exceptional, which, funnily enough, is the motto of WJ, our show sponsors. WJ are the UK's leading road marking and highway maintenance company. They're working with us, we're working with you. Let's get to it. Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this week's episode of Reading the Signs with me, Comedy John Ryan, and my onesie. It's that time of year. The onesie is out, everybody. It's come back. It's the proper uniform of the Essex man. How's your week been? Do let me know if you're there, what you've been up to. How's your day? How are you coping with this lovely cold weather? See what I did there? I've already mentioned the fact that I'm enjoying it. I love the cold weather. It's just perfect for me. Let us know if you are there and what you're up to, what you've been up to this week. This week's guest is an amazing character. His name's Miles Crawford. We're going to get onto him in just a moment. But in the meantime, do have a little look at our mensradiostation.com website. Give us a like, a follow, a recommendation on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on the walls of your house. Anyway, just write it on pieces of paper and randomly post it to strangers. We're always looking for feedback, so do let us know, because obviously we want to make sure that it's relevant and you guys are enjoying it. So what have we been up to this week? Have you had a good week? Have you had a bad week? Has it been? Personally, I've had a fantastic time. I've just come back from a 2-week trip to the Canary Islands, working on a fantastic ship called Iona P&O. Absolutely brilliant. It was good to get away, get a recharge of my batteries, do some comedy and cabaret on the ships. That was all good as well. But now it's back to life, back to reality, which started with a Nina today. Nina with Essex Fire Service. So thank you to those guys. They were an absolute pleasure to talk to. Other than that, not much really going on. Big week for me this week. On Friday, I will be launching a book that myself and Darren have written. So that's coming out Friday night. I'll tell you a little bit more about that before the show's over. So do have a little look at my Facebook page, John Ryan, obviously. And see for dates and details of that. Lovely Christmas present, not just for the kids. So onwards and upwards. As always, we're talking comedy and all things comedy. And along the way, we're going to talk a little bit about well-being, about mental health, and about life in general and how we survive and thrive. So as you know, if you listen in regularly to Reading the Signs with me, thanks to our brilliant sponsors, WJ, the UK's leading road marking company, we have guests on, varying kind of levels of experience. We had the fantastic Jeff Kreisler last week from New York talking about how he went on and became a very successful behavioral scientist at one of the biggest banks in the world, following on from doing stand-up. Prior to that, we've had a children's author, we've had singers, we've had all sorts. But tonight's comic is one of the few guys that I would honestly have no hesitation in having in my house, at my barbecue. I'd let him stay over. This guy has been so supportive of me since I first started comedy. I've traveled with him. I've worked with him. I listened to his brilliant music show on a Wednesday, Feel Good Wednesdays on the Soul of London as well, which you could listen to after you've listened to Russ and Phil on the Daily Show on mensradiostation.com. But anyway, enough of this, because the more I talk, the less he's going to have to say for himself. So please do give a warm welcome, everyone, to the, I would say, legendary, other people may say superstar, but it's Mr. Miles Crawford. There you go, mate. Look at you, all slick and a professional. No need to panic. Here in the end.
Oh, you okay?
Oh, always good, mate. When I'm not good, when I'm not happy. I like the way you've organised your bookshelf behind you. Pretty good, pretty impressive.
So you're looking past me.
Oh yeah, mate. I'm looking at that notice boards.
Environment.
We're looking for clues and signs that all is well. You've got a giraffe. What's that? The Lover's Guide to.
I'll explain it to you. I don't even
How would you like to have introduced yourself, Miles, if you had to write your own introduction?
Wow, that's a good question. You did very well. You did very well. It's interesting how people see you, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why, sir, I just wait to hear, on introduction. What some people do, they read your media intro. So they read something from your profile or something, or they go, "Oh, this person has done this, that," and I think to myself, yeah, he's on my website reading my my intro off there. But you did it differently because you did it from the heart.
From the heart.
Basically, I don't know what I'd say about myself actually. All-round entertainer, entrepreneur, nice guy, a person you'd have around your house for dinner, something like that,
Well, what I wouldn't say is a man with good IT skills. You're getting a lot of feedback. You've got a microphone on there or something. Can you put some headphones in, or have you got a secondary mic?
I could put some headphones in. If
Be professional.
Yeah. So if you talk about me,
I will.
Give me 2 or 3 minutes. I'll snatch away and
Snatch away. You'll nip off to Halfords or wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So,
okay.
We put me back in the room.
I will.
And I'll literally have headphones.
You do that, mate. God, mystery disappear. Well, that's it. I've bored the amazing Miles Crawford enough now to have him leave the room. The headphones excuse has come out already. Actually,
I've got here.
That seems to have worked. You've pressed the button, or you've muted a microphone, so that's taking care of the feedback now.
Right, is the feedback gone?
It's gone, mate. Now it's just me and you.
Well, that was on your end then, mate. Nothing.
Oh, here we go with your little fiddly tricks, your little promoters tricks. Now, obviously, for anyone who's going to put comments in the box, you know that my Tasha normally does the comments. She describes you as the best smelling man in the world. Oh, you just shaded out Tony Hendricks there to be the man who smells better than any other.
Do you know? It's funny because I do have a little. That's one of my bugbears, right? Because well, how many times have you met people? We travel around the world, doing what we do, and different places, cold countries, very hot countries, and stuff like that. But how easy is it just to refresh yourself? I am a stickler for just refreshing. So maybe I've grown up. Maybe I've grown up with it. Get up in the morning. You don't have to have a shower or a bath or something big. You can just do a quick wash over the sink, put on a bit of deodorant, bit of smelly or whatever. Some people are allergic to it all or something. But your presentation starts with you as your inner self. So if you're feeling okay and smelling okay, that's a good start to the day. So I'll make sure I catch a fresh, as they say.
We just want to give a quick shout out to a few people, Kev Harrison and Bex, who I met on Iona last week. Thanks, guys, for popping along to listen to Reading the Signs. Paulie Kirkpatrick. Paulie, I hope you're well now. Paulie had some surgery, so maybe you can tell us how that's gone, how that's worked out. My good cousin Sharon, of course. Dave Sleep, the guy from APA, the psychologist, with the greatest analogies you'll ever hear in your life. Not for Dave a simple, life is like a box of chocolates. For him, it's like a tank. There's different colours that travels up a wall. It's just very strange. So Tasha wants to point out that you don't smell of quick wash, you smell of heaven. So basically, you two need to get a room, mate. Need to get a room.
Well, you see, me and Tasha go back years. And
here we go. Here we go. So talking about going back years, mate, let's go back to the start. When you were a kid, were you funny? Were you the funny one in the family?
Say that again?
When you were a child, were you funny in the family, or were you serious, or what?
I'll tell you the honest truth. I am not the funny one in my family. My brothers All of them are very, very funny. They've got different sense of humour, different sense of humour. 4 brothers. And, when we get together, we do have an absolute ball, that they are very, very funny. But the difference is they will not they do not have any desire to go onto the stage.
Right.
In front of people they don't know, And they're very witty, very funny, very funny.
What about you? This just for people who don't know you, Miles. This sums you up. You don't like talking about yourself, and you like putting the glory on other people. But this is about you, okay? When you was a kid in class, what were you like? Were you a studious child? Were you well behaved? Or were you spending all your time rubbing flowers on yourself so they could smell nice? What was it?
I grew up. I was very quiet. I was very into sport when I was younger, when I was growing up. And that's all you kind of knew. I was doing sports and stuff. I kept out of trouble. I wasn't in any gang. I've never really been any part of any gang or group or cult or anything. I've always sort of gone along by myself and done things by myself, kept out of trouble and stuff like that. I do like to have fun. I do like to have a laugh. I'll join in, whip or something, but I wouldn't be in a gang or anything, if that makes sense.
So were you keen to be a student, or could you not wait to leave school? What was the dream as a child?
I always wanted to be a fireman. I always wanted to be a fireman.
We'll have none of that. We'll have none of that language on my show, mate. All right, you're not on the Soul of London now. They're firefighters, because women can be firemen too, Miles. Firefighters.
What? Yeah, you have to be so careful what you say now. Wow, we were having this conversation literally over the last couple of days. Sunday, yesterday. My goodness, it's even gone into things like Christmas and saying stuff like that now. It's crazy. So let's rephrase that. I always wanted to be a fire person.
Fire person. Okay. I'll accept that one. Go on. Look at you learning. Look at you, the dinosaur changing.
I forgot. Interviewing with John Ryan is on a different intellectual level altogether.
it ain't just chit and chat now, bro. Ain't just chit and chat now.
Wow. So let me get the thesaurus up on the computer. Make sure that I'm saying.
You've got a mark next. You've got a mark next to your name now, and it's a mark of no colour. It's just you've got a mark against you. So you wanted to be a firefighter. What happened?
Yeah, and took all the exams.
Yeah.
Went through the whole process, and then I failed on the.
There you go. Dressed it up, built it up, and boom. How did you fail? How can you fail to be a fire person? It's a fire, put it out, is it?
Yeah. I passed all those, but you have to do a physical. And this is where it gets really serious, right? So you do your physical. And one of the things you have to do on the physical is you have to do an eye test. Because you've got to wear all the equipment and everything like that. Oh, not so funny now, is it?
No, it just got real. Go on.
Yeah. And I failed the eye test in the early part, but they let me go on because you have one last exam, a full physical. I was really fit in those days. I used to run for Surrey, run for my county, and did all sorts of sports for the area and stuff, all sorts of stuff like that. That's a different. We'll talk about that another day. But the eye test, I just couldn't pass the eye test at the time because they didn't have laser treatment or anything then. You weren't allowed to wear glasses underneath the equipment, and so I wasn't allowed to go any further. I was absolutely devastated.
Oh, did you just used to sit outside of fire stations going, I could do that, I could help? Did you used to follow around on your bicycle? Follow fire engines on your bicycle?
Yeah, I was absolutely. Well, that's how I got into the business because
Look, I've just put a little backdrop of a fire for you, just to show you what could have been.
got all that going as well. We're on a different level.
Hey, this ain't no solo London radio station with you and your smooth talking there, mate. This is the real deal.
I like your backdrop.
My little Chinese laundry.
Yeah, I've got one of those behind my telly at home.
Brilliant. So tell us then. So you left school, and what happened? You left school, and then no firefighting.
So no firefighting, and so I didn't know exactly which way to go, what I wanted to do, anything like that, and so I had to try and find something else to do.
Okay.
And so what I did, I bumped into an old teacher at school, and she said, right, why don't you go for drama school? Go to drama school, and you can get into try and get your equity card. And so that's the road I took.
You went to drama school?
No, I didn't end up going to drama school.
I was going to say, this is 20 years. You never told me that one before. I didn't see you as a lovey.
No, I didn't. We had to audition for drama school. So my teacher helped me. I'd left school, but I was still in touch with the teacher. So he helped me through the auditions. And whilst auditioning, I entered a talent competition, which was at Jongleurs in Battersea. I didn't know it was Jongleurs at all, but it was at Jongleurs. And the main reason why I was entering these competitions was so that I could get practice in front of judges.
Well, an audience, yeah.
When I did my audition, because I got through to 3 of the main drama schools at the time: LAMDA, the London Music and Dramatic Arts, Mount View, and RADA. And so at the time, my local, not local council, but the local sort of education said, look, if you get into any of those, we'll pay your fee for it.
Wow.
They'll sponsor.
Okay. Yeah.
Quite serious. So I entered the competition. Anyway, I won it at Jongleurs and never looked back.
So what then? You became a Jongleurs kind of host or an act or a regular?
Because what actually happened at the time was I won a slot on a Jongleurs comedy night, which we now know is the open spot.
Yeah.
So I won some money and won other bits and pieces. I won a slot on the comedy night, and I did the comedy night and died really, really badly.
Okay.
Really badly. However, there was various comedians on that you meet. There was a comedian called Chris Lynham. Do you know Chris Lynham?
Very well, mate. Phenomenally funny man.
Chris Lynham was on, and I was up in the dressing room crying, basically. And he just said, look, you did really well. You just stayed on too long. I didn't know about timings or anything. And just swapped numbers, kept in contact with him. And then from there, started to just go around the circuit. I went on like a mini tour of festivals with Chris at the time. And I learned, all about comedy and performing and all sorts of things then. But that was one of the cusps I was on. I had to choose, do I go to do this drama school audition or do I go on this tour with this comedian that I don't even know?
Yeah.
That was a big choice that I had to do at the time.
And then you took the choice?
Yeah, I took the choice and went on the tour. Never did the audition for drama school.
Yeah, and the rest, and there, here you are.
Yeah.
And this might be a good point to point out to people that I mean, I've called this show tonight, He's Miles Better, because you are miles better than most. But also, he smiles better, because you're always smiling, man. I don't know that life gets you down, but when it does, you never let on. And you have a reputation of being upbeat and happy. Steve Hewlett, who you were working with last night, has just messaged to say he enjoyed working with you in Corn. You're a true gent, a perfect host, and a multi-talented personality, which is, nice to hear. But we don't tend to get a lot of praise from other performers. So always nice to hear that. And a quick shout out to John Mason. Thanks for coming along, John. In the comments box, I can see people commenting all the time, mate. Like your chat box that you have on the Soul of London Feel Good Wednesday, which I may have mentioned a few times already, which is a great music station if anyone wants to just have a good bit of soul and a bit of a dance. So tell us, mate, what have you been doing today?
Well, today I've had a bit of a rest day today.
I'm getting old, a little rest.
Yeah, I was absolutely shattered, and oops, sorry, John, one sec, my camera.
Yeah. Okay, well, while Miles is playing with his camera, he's probably basically going to stand up when he sits naked at that desk. I've got no doubt. So Joke Club is the clubs that Miles runs. If you go on the website and just type in Joke, Joke, and Club with a K, you'll find a list of venues and places that he performs at. One of the things that he does really well is that he brings through new talent and he allows people the opportunity to go and do short spots at his clubs. When you start doing comedy, it's really difficult to get spots. And then when you do get spots, if you're good, you kind of hope to get a few quid, and then you progress to 10 minutes. Then you progress to 20 minutes and longer. But most of these places don't pay anything. Like Miles said, that first time he did Jongleurs, there was no pay, and he obviously had a tough gig. But what Miles does at his clubs is he pays the shorter acts. When he comes back, we're gonna talk to him a little bit about that. So tell us how you guys are getting on, what you've been up to, what's going on in your world while he fixes his camera and sorts himself out. What's been going on? How are you coping with this cold weather? Are you enjoying it? Paulie Kirkpatrick, thank you for giving us an update on your health. I'm glad to see that it's going well, because the problem that men have with their health is that we don't take our health seriously. And Paulie, I hope you don't mind me saying, I'm sure you won't, you made it public, had a growth on his neck for quite some time, which was pretty dangerous. He's had it removed and is now fine, I believe. But it's all about going to the doctors on time and in time, getting yourself checked out. So if I can ask people to do one thing, if you're listening to me today here live or on the next play of the show next Monday morning, 7 a.m. on Men's Radio Station, or if you listen to it on the Deluxe Radio Network or on YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter or SoundCloud, wherever you're listening to us, do go and get yourself a doctor's appointment if you've not been to the doctors in a while. At this stage, I'd like to just give a quick shout out and thanks to WJ, our show sponsors. They're the people who draw the white lines down the motorway, but they do lots of other really good stuff as well. So during lockdown, they did all the little rainbows on the roads and all the thank you NHS staff and all that kind of stuff, all the really, really good stuff that was going on during the COVID lockdown. I seem to have lost Miles completely now. I don't know what's going on there. So talking about men's health, I've been for my annual blood tests 2 weeks ago, and I've got my results today. So it looks like I'll be staying for a while longer. All good on that front. Obviously, I didn't have any concerns. But the thing about going for regular screening, as I do, is that if there is a problem, it gets picked up pretty quickly. Most men don't go to the doctors. There's been research to show that the typical male hasn't been to the doctors in more than 3 years. So if anyone out there is listening and you've been it's longer than 3 years since you went to the doctors, do let me know. Let me know why you haven't and if you'll go. Quick mention to Sarah Coxon, who thank you for listening as well. Sarah's currently isolating with COVID. So if you get a chance to let us know how that's going, Sarah, please do. We've also got Shelley Wrightson, Dave Sleet. Again, very supportive. Thank you guys for coming along. Dawn's wearing her mask. Dawn, of course, as regular listeners will know, tunes in most weeks. And Dawn's just come back from the Caribbean. So if you want to know, let us know how that went, Dawny. That would be much appreciated. So as I say, I've had my blood test results. So you go along, you just get your appointment slot, you go get your blood test, get it taken. A couple of weeks later, you get your results. When you are, especially over 50, very important to get your prostate check if you are from an ethnic community. An ethnic community, we're all from ethnic communities, I mean, people of colour, whatever the word is for now, black people, brown people, them people. Get yourself checked out once you're 40, guys. And also that applies to anyone who defines themselves as male or male to female, because obviously you can still have a prostate. So do go and get them blood tests done. If you do have a prostate problem, not the end of the world. You can always get your results and it will measure it. And then before you know it, it's all sorted, nothing to worry about. So do go and get those blood tests done. With that in mind, he's now back. He's put some trousers on. I don't know where he went. What happened there, mate?
Boy, you know, the gremlins are definitely in. The gremlins are definitely in. I am high on tech. And I did the cardinal sin. And
Didn't plug in your laptop.
It wasn't plugged in. So the battery just went pop.
We're getting that feedback again.
Right, it's on your side.
It's not. You've got a microphone on there, mate. You've got a microphone on either on your headphones or on your. Now it's gone. There you go.
Is it gone?
No, it's back again. So have you got an external microphone plugged in?
No.
Is there? Are you playing it on a second phone in the room? Are you on a second laptop in the room?
Let me just.
What you done? What you done, mate? If you kidnap someone and they're listening to it, have a little look.
Is that any better?
Yeah. No, that's still there. We're still getting the feedback. Have a little look, and then. Okay. Yeah, that seems to have gone. So while you were gone, I had a little message to remind people to go and get their screenings done. Dawn McNulty just came back from the Caribbean where she was on a cruise, said she felt totally safe. The COVID is a bit stressful, but once you know what you're doing, it's all good. So thanks for sharing that with us, Dawn. Miles, how often did you go to the doctors?
I should go more.
More than 3 years?
I've been going more recently just because of things that are happening because of COVID. And you know, people that I've been talking to have been saying, look, we're of that age now where you've got to go and get a little...
Gentlemen of a certain age.
Yeah.
Got to take care of it, mate. Got to take care of it.
And stuff like that. So, do you know, I used to ignore the texts and everything like that came in. But one day I thought, you know what? No. So I just sat down and I rang up and I booked in all of the, you know, the things that we need to do. The one where, you know, that one, you know.
You got blood test.
Yeah, so I've got to do all of those. I do. I got a batch of the, you know, the COVID tests, and I do those every 3 days, something like that, just to make sure. I try and keep very clean and safe as much as I can. Yeah,
and smelling gorgeous.
And smelling gorgeous. Yeah.
We're getting that feedback again, mate. It's really loud. I don't know what it is. You sure you haven't got your phone? You haven't got your phone on?
All right,
I think you have, mate.
Try something here. Right, is that any better?
There you go. I don't know what you're pressing. But it's still getting feedback. I can hear my voice coming back to me, coming out your speaker, being recorded, and come back to me.
Let me just do one. This is crazy. Right,
so if you could just check, you've got no microphone plugged in.
I'm gonna go put some earphones in. Give me 2 secs.
You do that, right? In the meantime, I'll just fill in, mate. This is what we normally do. So I work with Miles quite a lot, and he will very often just go, right, go on, do something, John. Sings a song or fill in for a minute, and then he'll pop out and he'll pop back again with a cup of tea or coffee or, if he's not driving, perhaps some champagne, because he's a very classy lad, is our Miles. So let me know how your day's been going, how your week has been going for people that are out there listening to us. And don't forget, you can listen to us again on Mondays and also on SoundCloud. And there's loads of other really, really great shows on the men's radio station and women's radio station websites, as well as the Dulux radio network. There you go. God, it's really hard to say, wasn't it? So as you know, each week our guests give their top tips for well-being. So anyone listening out there, I'm going to be asking you for your top tips for well-being as well in a few moments. It's important you have your screening done. Like I say, I'm particularly keen because I have a little autoimmune thing going on called vitiligo, which is very prominent this week because I've just been away. As you can see, it's on my neck. This is the colour that I should be. There you go, Miles. I'm just showing off my body now. Just talking about my vitiligo now, mate, and how it's come this week because I've been in the sun. I've been away for 2 weeks working.
Looking nice. So were you on the cruise ships? Were you performing?
Yeah.
What ship did you do?
I was on Iona, which is an absolutely phenomenal ship. I would recommend it to anyone. They're not paying me to plug it, but mate, get yourself on there. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. Okay. But it was phenomenal. And while I was on there, I met 2 other guys who have the same skin condition that I have, and it was funny talking to them about how it affects their well-being because it's something. It's your vitiligo, particularly prominent amongst Black and Asian communities, and it's all about how it affects people's self-awareness and their self-confidence because you get patches on your skin, as I showed. You can see it's different and all that. For people listening to radio, you've got no idea what I'm talking about. But basically, you get these patches on your skin, and I go and get my blood test every year to make sure that it's not affecting my thyroid. But it's just that thing of coming back to get your screening done, get your doctor's appointment, and go and get it. And then you were just saying that you are, on it. You're on it. You go and get yourself checked out.
Yeah, I've started to do that because I realised, sometimes in your head you think, do you know what, I'm all right. I'm actually all right when you're not. And what alarmed me, I play a lot of tennis. And just coming out of COVID, of course, we haven't played tennis for ages because all the gyms and the clubs were closed. So I went back and played, and I was just playing in a gentle 4, playing some doubles, right?
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, come on in, let's just play a set instead of just having a knockabout." Now you can't lose, can you?
No. No.
So you go into gear, and then I twinged my knee. Right? It wasn't anything serious. I twinged my knee, and it still hasn't healed yet. Usually you just rub some oil on it or do some stretching or jump in a little pool or something like that. Twinged my knee and it doesn't fit. And for me, that was a sign. Something's wrong,
Okay. Yeah.
So I thought it's time to get myself checked out, do a little MOT, give my body a little TLC, look at my eating, change my drinking habits, things like that,
So it's good though because you're aware of yourself and you do a lot of presenting. So obviously you've got to look good. Whereas me, it's all radio. I can eat what I want. Look how I like. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes Tasha tries to keep me overweight because she likes that cuddly man. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, I love Tasha.
Do you prefer performing or promoting?
I enjoy it both because performing, you get the buzz. I love performing. Promoting, you can get creative. I do have a very creative side as well, and I like doing that side of it. And so, whatever keeps my brain ticking, I like doing that. Yeah.
And then I did mention your joke club and the fact that you pay your short spots. Everyone gets at least some petrol money, which is important to you. Absolutely. It is important because, we've all been there, John, haven't we? Doing the trudging around, trying to make a name, getting stage experience, however you get it. And, when I was doing the open spots, we didn't get paid. We didn't get paid at all. And I just said to myself, if ever I'm in a position where I am providing a platform for people, I'll pay them a little something. They can put it towards a petrol or they can buy a drink or something like that, just to give them a little of incentive not to pull out. Because comedians, they book up the open spot and then it might be raining or snowing. Yeah.
I think, I ain't going.
Don't want to do it.
and they blow out. But when that might have been the gig that would have propelled them further.
Yeah, it's that lucky break thing, isn't it? It's that
absolutely.
you mate in that moment.
I say, look, I'll pay you 10 or 20, or give us a receipt, and I'll cover your petrol or something like that. And see how they do.
And then tell us about the radio show. How you got lumbered in with a Grenadian radio station. People who know me and Tasha well will know that. We love Grenada. We've got a lot of families from there. Been out there many times. And you will very often ring me up and go, "What are you doing? I need a guest. Quickly. Say something. Tell me something quick."
Yeah. But you're brilliant for radio. You're the go-to guy, man. You can just switch it on in seconds.
Turn nonsense on the spot.
But I love doing the radio. I've done radio now for maybe about 25 years on different stations. But the station I'm on at the moment, I really do love, which is the Soul of London, London Soul Radio. I do a live show.
Say it properly, mate. The Soul of London. I'm going to get me a jingle of
London. And I do that 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. on a Wednesday morning. And it's a feel-good show, right? Yeah. And the beautiful thing about it is the guy who owns the station lets me produce the show myself.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
So I'll play whatever records I want.
I know that. So you very often go, right, what do you want to hear? And we type it in. And then normally with me and Darren and doing some work around the house, you go, "Yeah, Darren, this is
Absolutely. And that's, to me, that's radio. What's now on the spot, spontaneous, And
I noticed the gospel music creeping in recently.
Yeah, I play gospel as well. I do have a gospel arm, and I think sometimes some of the words in some of those gospel songs can be inspiring, especially within the situation in life that we're in now. Other people's words can inspire us, to make changes. To look at life in a different way, if someone's on the edge. And I'll try and filter all that through the show as best I can, just to make people feel good and help people. And the beautiful thing about our show is it doesn't only go out in the UK, it's got a sister station in Grenada, like you've mentioned. And that goes in Grenada around all the surrounding islands there. The
Caribbean.
So it's got a very, very wide listenership. And that's what I like.
Interesting. My favourite one, because I do listen regularly, as you know, my favourite one was when you rang up the couple on their anniversary to wish them happy anniversary, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. Man, unless you were going, "Hello, who is it?" "Hi, it's Miles Crawford, calling from London." Oh, my God. It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
He was in Jamaica. You see, I didn't know he was in Jamaica. I thought they were over here, but she was over here. And he was in Jamaica.
That's right.
And I did like a triple, one of those calls. And I thought,
"Hello, hang on."
That's right.
Awkward. Very awkward. So tell us, when you did yours, because you've done some very interesting TV warm-ups as well.
Yes.
And I used to love Des O'Connor, right? Yeah. I thought he was just one of the most all-round entertainers ever lived. But when you do those warm-ups, how much time do you get to meet the presenters and the stars?
It actually depends on the presenter and the stars, because you get some who muck in, so to speak, and you get to have a chat with them in rehearsals and in the green room. Others don't have anything to do with it. They just come on, do their bit, off again. You don't get most of them do, because they know the importance of your job as the warm-up. So, they come along and they come and have a chat. Some of them join in with the warm-up as well, which is a great help for us, because our job is to keep, if any live television show has an audience there, and there's a guy, a warm-up guy like me, behind the cameras, entertaining them, get them to cheer and stuff like that. That's your job. You don't get any recognition for it. You don't get a credit on the credits that go up and down, but you are an integral part of the show.
What was your favorite show you did a warm-up for?
I quite like the National Lottery, actually.
See, I used to do that one as well with Eamon Holmes. How's it going,
Yeah.
everybody?
Yeah, I did the first, when it first came out, I did the first 4 years of that. Then it went to Wednesdays as well. So I was doing Wednesdays and Saturdays. And it was just the stars that they got on the show. I got to meet so many people. You didn't have Facebook in them days. You didn't have Facebook or anything. So, the picture opportunities that passed me by then. But meeting all those massive stars was great, And the beauty of it is I could do that show, leave there, and then go and do a show on the circuit, So it's double bubble.
Yeah, I remember because when you couldn't do it, I would very often stand in for you. And then I would say, what did Miles do last week? And they'd be like, it's hard to say, really. He just made everyone feel really warm and welcome. And that, I think, is the essence of you. Is that thing about, like, even that we're in your front room. And a gig of yours, it's like being just in your house. And there's that whole thing of you make this good comedy is about making a world that's believable. One of the best things I actually remember about working with you was once at Reading, and what used to happen was at Jongleurs, you sometimes would have a spare, and if someone couldn't get to a gig, you could turn up. You had to be able to open, close, or compare.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember.
And then I remember going on second, and I was going to go, and they said, Miles is going to come and close the show. I thought, right, I'll definitely stay and watch this. And the first act had just really struggled, and the compare had really struggled. And I hadn't had a particularly easy gig. And they were going, well, let's see what Miles can do, because he just chats to the audience, and now he's going to get found out, see if he's got any material. And I bet, I'm like, no, he will smash this gig. And sure enough, you did, with one of the worst card tricks and escapology routines I have ever seen in my life. And the audience loved it. The people you got up on stage loved it. And then one of the other acts said to me, but what made you think that he was going to turn it around? I went, because this guy is relentless and he won't give up. He's not going to, he won't go, oh, this gig's right. I was talking to an act before the show who said he did a gig on Saturday and the audience were horrible, and the headline act slagged them off and stormed off. And there is no way you would do that or let anyone at your shows do anything like that. So when you're in a difficult situation then, or an awkward situation, what is it that keeps you going? How do you get through it?
Right. So in my head, I think, right, those people have come out to be entertained. All right. So by hook or by crook, I am going to, fulfill that. So you have to dip into your pool of experience, and where most of the time I dip into when I do warm-ups, because when you do warm-ups, you have to go on to a stone cold audience that haven't come to see you. They've come to see the top turn or a show or something like that. But you have to connect with them and make them entertained. So you learn all these little antidotes that can trigger something in a crowd or in an audience. And in situations like that, I mean, even as compare, sometimes when you compare in a comedy show and the first act doesn't do well, second act doesn't do well, you think, my goodness. So you have to keep the show going. You have to pick the audience back up just so that the next act has a chance, And so I dip into my pool of experience with the warm-ups and stuff like that and take the audience back to as if the show hadn't even started. I'm the first act they're seeing, and then do it that way. Yeah.
So then tell us about your more recent, because you do get run-ins, didn't you? You do, as lovely as you are, and I've never had a crossword with you and would struggle to find a reason to, but you have caught it a little bit. You have become controversial, Crawford, in the last few years, haven't you? With your new mate who you're working with.
Yeah, I have. And that's I really enjoy what I'm doing. And
so it's Jim Davison. You've been working a lot with Jim Davison. You get a lot of flack for it, a lot of stick on the circuit.
I have been, but I don't mind about that. A friend is a friend, but what people don't know is the history between me and Jim Davison. We go back decades. And although just the same as anybody else, although you don't agree with some of their material or some of their views, doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them someone you shouldn't like,
But what's
And
interesting for me because I watch links that you send and that, even when you're talking with him in that interview situation, it's still you.
Yeah.
You don't bend, you don't yield, you still get your point across in the same
Sure.
affable. And it's quite funny watching Jim, because he's a man who speaks his mind and is not scared of being abusive or abrasive. But it's almost like you just wrap him up in this warmth. You should be working with him all the time, walking around, just taking the edge off of him, because it's actually quite an interesting thing to watch. Almost two extremes as performers. One whose attitude is, "Oh, you're going to love me whether you want to or not," and the other one is, "I don't care if you love me or not."
Yeah, it's very much like that. It's interesting, and that's it. People, that man, I can tell you now, is a genius. Yeah,
Right.
his mind, his creative mind is tremendous. You'll only get that if you work with him for a while, or you're with him for a bit, and his heart is as big as the country. He does, and I guess you all know all the stuff he does for the military, the CSC shows. You've done those CSC shows, where you go abroad and stuff. He's been doing that since. I mean, I started doing those early '90s, those shows, and that's how I got sort of to know him, from doing those shows. But he's never ever, I'll say it, we get paid a whack of money for those shows. It's danger money, really, right? Those shows are good, thousands. He never takes a penny.
No.
He goes over there, he does all the big shows, he never takes a penny. And he's also set up Care for Combat and all that, big charities.
But again, this highlights you as a man, because you could quite easily jump on a bandwagon and slag him off. However, you've got this warmth about, come on, let's see the good side. Let's see the good side. And you're always seeing the good side in people, and to try and bring this around. So you run a club where you're the only promoter in the country that I know of where everybody on the bill gets paid, whether they're a tryout or they're a headline act, and you give people second chances. You mentor, so you're good. You're a great dad. Your kids, anyone who meets you within seconds knows you're a dad first and foremost. You're constantly trying to innovate and keep it going, and you're always there to say a good word about people. But what about Miles? What does Miles do for Miles? What do you do to keep yourself mentally strong and coping?
Well, I try and keep creative, John. In life, and everybody will tell you this, everybody's got their own problems. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna reveal something to all the people listening and everything like that. I do have my own backup, my own rock, my own stone that back me up.
Is it me?
You are one of them. You are one of them. You are a tremendous person, and I won't tell the listeners what I've rung you up for, but I know in the past I've rung you up, and you know what we've spoken about, and you've given me your opinion and steered me in a direction. I can take it or not. Most of the time I choose to take it. I trust your word. You'd never lie to me. I know that. And you've been one of those guys over the 25 years I've known you that stuck strong, I call it. We've never had a bad word. We've never, it's all good. And there are maybe another 3 people that have helped me through and helped me in life. So I have my go-tos as well, and that's what keeps me, Miles Crawford, straight and on strong.
Do you ever think maybe it would have been easier if I just had been able to be a firefighter?
A path is a path. I strongly think everything happens for a reason. I do know friends of mine who came up with me then who were firefighters and are firefighters and have been firefighters. And my outlook in life is wider than theirs, because in our job, as entertainers, we are fortunate to travel the world.
Yeah.
Even in the UK, we've been all over the UK. Our job takes us there. We meet people. We see different things. We experience different things, and it's made my view and my vision wider rather than just being in one station in one area, you know, firefighting.
Yeah.
And I've seen them met up with the firefighters, and you know, and you'll understand this. A lot of them are going through like the mental health stuff at the moment, just because of their job and their experiences and stuff like that. You know, and many have been injured in the job, you know, and stuff like that, and now are not as physical, or you know,
and I was able, right?
use it.
So what then is it that keeps you going strong? What got you through COVID, got you through 25 years, gets you through the slack, the slack you get for working with Jim Davidson, and you do get abuse because of it.
I do get abuse,
right?
yeah.
And what keeps you mentally tough? What is it? What is it you do that maybe can help other people?
I pray.
Okay. Yeah.
I pray, John. Yeah.
Okay.
And I pray to him upstairs. You know,
Him or her, mate. Yeah, don't start that again. We had that to firefighters. Him or her. The great he, she in the clouds.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to. How do I say it then? What do I say?
The deity. Now? I talk to the deity.
Right. Oh.
Listen, God's a woman. We know God's a woman because God created, men destroy. Well, sisters, bow to the feminists. Mate, you're a dinosaur, Mars. You're a dinosaur, son.
I'll cut off that second bit.
Yeah, we let it back.
I'll throw a prayer up there. Whether anyone believes in that stuff or not, it works for me. You know.
We had Paul Carenza on a couple of weeks ago. Do you know Paul Carenza?
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy, and it's funny talking to him because his faith is very important to him. He does a lot of religious stuff, and when I was saying to him, but he was a big influence on me when I started, and he had no idea. Yeah. And one of the reasons that he influenced me was, like you, he's nice. He's a nice bloke, and you can be a nice bloke and still get on in life, you know. And so you saying you pray, it's been shown that prayer and faith and church is good for people's mental well-being. I'm not a believer myself. I don't go to church, but we would never disagree over it. But it gives people a structure, a reason, and being part of something. But it's that thing of being, and that's that honest thing for you to say. What do you hope for the future? What you're looking to do? What, for me? Yeah.
You know, I just hope that I can, you know, keep healthy, stay clear of these viruses, you know, just stay sane and help others. You know, I've started a mentor academy, the Miles Crawford Mentor Academy, because I thought, you know, let me just try and help people channel, you know, some of my experience into others, you know, whether they be up and coming comics, whether they, you know, someone who needs help in their presentation or something like that. I'm going to try and do this through the Mentor Academy.
Mate, and I can only wish you all the best with that. And it's been absolutely fantastic. The last hour's just flown by. Most of it you was in and out of the room. But if you hang on, if you could just hang on for 10 minutes in the green room, I'm going to come back and talk to you when the show finishes. Yeah, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us and to share your view on the world. Where can people see you next? Where's your next gig?
My next gig, we've got a Christmas show in Quorn in Leicestershire. In Quorn, you can find all of the information of forthcoming gigs on the Joke Club Comedy Club website, www.jokeclubcomedyclubs.co.uk, and the Joke Club gigs are on there. There's not too many because of COVID, but we have kept some still going for 2021, and then we're full steam ahead in 2022 with a handful of new venues opening. Brilliant. So very exciting times.
And then obviously Soul of London, the Soul of London. Wednesday,
You've done voiceovers for me for those. That's lovely.
So it's all about, mate. Listen, you take care. Stay there. I'll speak to you in a couple of minutes. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miles Crawford. Cheers. So that's the incredible Miles Crawford. I could talk to you for hours. Just genuinely a lovely man who just, you just feel good for being in his presence. Very interesting point that you made there about the power of prayer for mental well-being and to make you feel good, because he's very open and honest. And a lot of guys would go, no, I don't go to church, or I don't pray, or I don't work with Jim Davison, or whatever the unpopular statement is at that time. But I guess for Miles, it's all about to thine own self be true. And it's about making sure that you are consistent. And he is a very, very consistent man. As always, he's come up with a really, really good little top tip for well-being there. And as you know, each week, my guests will give their top tips. And some of them are obviously more easily accessible. Steve Best talked about good breathing. Dave Ward talked about routine. Kev Alkian talked about positivity. And Phil Doyle from Wales, he's also said having positive people around you. And it is all about the power of positivity. If we remember, Dana Alexander talks about having someone to share your journey. Michael Straney talks about not fixating on things. All of these are really, really good, valid tips that work in different ways for different people. Saul Bernstein, if you remember, talked about when life got really hard and he thought about ending it and just kind of accepting that life isn't always easy. Andre down in New Zealand was very interesting with what he said, because he felt that a trouble shared is a trouble halved. Philip Simon talked about how being stubborn helped you stick to your task. We can all find ways of helping. Sorry about that little horrendous little IT problem there. I do apologize. So, like I say, once again, and as always, you're not on your own in this battle of life. If you're struggling, reach out to someone and see if you can get some help. If you're not able to, then let's hope that the rest of us that are able to can reach out and help you. There are places you can go to when things are not working well, when you're battling against life and you need that little extra hand. And that's where those of us who are in a good place can step in and be positive. Time to Change are a brilliant organization, as are Mind. There's lots of useful information and resources on their websites. Every week on this show on a Monday night at 7 o'clock, we'll have a guest. We'll have a comedian who'll come in and talk about their life and how they survive and thrive. Each guest has their own unique skill set. One thing I try to do is get on people that genuinely I admire and whose company I enjoy. And that's one of the things that I do for my well-being. I only seek out people who I like being around. It's a bit selfish, but you know what? I don't want to be around toxic people. Think about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and who you're with. There's 7 billion people on this planet. We don't have to get on with all of them. As always, I want to thank you for coming along and listening. Do tune in to all the programs on the mensradiostation.com website and also women's radio station. Keep up with our SoundCloud, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook accounts. Do give us a like and a follow. We're not alone in this battle of life. You just got to remember that Christmas is coming up. That's a very difficult time of year for a lot of people. It's when people feel isolated, alone, and vulnerable. If you get a chance to speak to anyone, do speak to them. If you've not heard from someone in a while, reach out and be that difference. Try to make sure that people know you're there, people that know that you're there for them. Just try and remember that it happens to more people than you would ever know. If you do have any worries about yourself or your friends or your family, please get some help. You don't have to go through life on your own. I'm going to leave you this little thought. It's an acronym of think before you speak. T, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? Before you speak, think. THINK. Truth, helpfulness, inspiration, necessity, and kindness. Base all your conversations on those things. And you never know, you might begin to make a difference and start feeling good about yourself and for yourself. I will be back next week. In the meantime, you stay safe and take care. Yeah, that was big, wasn't it?
Well, that's the end of another episode of Reading the Signs with me, Comedy John Ryan. We're here every Monday night at 7 p.m. talking with comedians about mental wellness, mental well-being, and just trying to get the conversation going. What we're trying to do is show that it's good to talk, and we're also trying to show that everybody can go through the same experiences. A massive thank you to the WJ Group who sponsored the show, showing their commitment not just to mental well-being, but also to reaching as broad an audience as possible. It's great to be part of the mensradiostation.com family, so do check us out on the website, on social media. We'll be back next Monday. You take care. Stay safe, everybody.